Welcome to Spooky Stories. We're your hosts, Jackie and Martha. For the next 11 days leading up to Halloween, we'll be sharing spooky stories, but not always spooky, from books and periodicals within the collections here at Seton Hall University. We'll start off with reading the story, and then we'll follow it up with some commentary. It's day one of Spooky Stories, and we're going to start off with a fitting poem for all of us since we all do work in the library. This is Ghosts in the Library.
Suppose when now the house is dumb, when lights are out and ashes fall, suppose their ancient owners come to claim our spoils of shop and stall. Ah me, within the narrow hall, how strange a mob would meet and go, what famous folk would haunt them all, octavo, quarto, folio. The great Napoleon lays his hand upon this eagle-headed N, that marks for his a pamphlet banned by all but scandal-loving men, a libel from some nameless den of Frankfurt Arnault à la sphere, wherein one split with venal pen lies over the loves of Molière. Another shade he does not see Boney, the foeman of his race. The great Sir Walter, this is he with that grave homely border face. He claims his poem of the chase that rang Ben Vorlich's valley through, and this that doth the lineage trace and fortunes of the bold Bickleu. For these were his, and these he gave to one who dwelt beside the Peel, that murmurs with its tiny wave to join the Tweed at Ashestiel. Now thick as motes the shadows wheel, and find their own a claim to share of books wherein Ribot did deal, or Roulin sold to wise Colbert. What famous folk of old are here! A royal duke comes down to us, and greatly wants his Elzevir, his pagan tutor, Lucius. And Beckford claims an amorous old heathen in Morocco blue, and who demands Ebaunus, but stately Jacques Auguste de Thou. They come, the wise, the great, the true, they jostle on the narrow stair, the frolic Countess de Verrue, Lamoignon, and Longepierre. The new and elder dead are there, the lords of speech and song and pen, Gambetta, Schlegel, and the rare Drummond of haunted Hawthorne Den. Ah, and with those 100 more, whose names, whose deeds are quite forgot, brave Smiths and Thompsons by the score, scrawled upon many a shabby lot. This playbook was the joy of Pot for whom now no mortal grieves. Our names, like his, remembered not, like his, shall flutter on fly leaves. At least in pleasant company, we bookish ghosts perchance may flit. A man may turn a page and sigh, seeing one's names, to think of it. Beauty or poet, sage or wit, may ope our book and muse awhile, and fall into a dreaming fit, as now we dream and wake and smile.
This poem comes to us from Books and Bookmen, which is by Andrew Lang, published in London by Longmans, Green and Company in 1887. Andrew Lang was a Scottish poet. He was a novelist, among other things. He was also known for collecting folk and fairy tales. He really was into mythology and things like that. So I did some research on Andrew Lang, but first I want to talk about the poem itself. I don't know, I thought this was so sweet and a really nice introduction into our spooky stories, even though this one wasn't spooky, but it's more of an ode to people who love books and the practice of like information seeking and research and things like that. I like how the library, he paints the library as sort of a mystical place where the past and the present converge, and the living still interact with these quote unquote ghosts of the scholars and the great minds that he mentions all throughout the poem. because I don't know, we work in the library. I think we find it magical, and you work with rare books, I feel like you must feel some sort of connection to that and the people that left them behind.
Well, especially just seeing the authors he mentioned, even the publisher Elsevier, right? That's the person that handles journals at this point,
right?
But, just to see that, and it's just kind of like, I know that, heard of that, even though it's a French name, but
yeah, I feel like it's a pretty niche reference, but those who get it get it. Yeah, and also I just want to put a disclaimer out there. I know there was a lot of French words in that, and I don't speak French, so please don't come after me for my pronunciations. I did my best. But this kind of led me to looking more into Lang himself. I find him to be pretty interesting. Like I said, he had a really deep interest in myths and folklore. He was really inspired by the work of a man named Edward Burnett Tyler, who was a noted anthropologist, and he's actually regarded as being the father of cultural anthropology, which kind of Lang was all about relating the quote-unquote primitive practice of storytelling to this kind of new research that was coming about in the 19th century of paranormal and a scientific look at the supernatural and things that are unexplained. So that's where he's most influential, and he actually was a member of the Society of Psychical Research, which was an organization founded in the 19th century to scientifically investigate the paranormal phenomena like telepathy, oh my god, excuse me, ghosts, psychic experiences. I don't know. I found it on Hathitrust, but I don't know if we have it. His book, The Book of Dreams and Ghosts. Do you know if we have that?
I can take a quick look.
If we don't, we should, because it's kind of his research. He collected various accounts from people of hauntings and visions and spectral appearances, and he talks a lot about fairies. He actually published a bunch of different books on fairy lore and witchcraft and premonitions and things like that. He was really open-minded, I think, about and interested in this kind of new research, new at the time. He doesn't endorse anything or any particular story, but he kind of comes into it in a way where he's like, there's probably a scientific explanation to it, but there are things that are unexplained that maybe science hasn't caught up with it yet. So I don't know. I just found that to be interesting.
We don't have that book. We just have it on Hathitrust.
Well, so check it out on Hathitrust. Yeah. I know I am.
Yes. That's weird, though. Psychical research,
right? Now it's kind of considered to be now like parapsychology. That's what it evolved into. But there's not really much about him in his early life. Like, I wonder what if he had any sort of...
If he was haunted.
If he was haunted as a child. I mean, it was like, in the 18th century, there were weird things going on back then, I feel like. But to take this path in life instead of something more... Because he was a historian, he's a novelist, but this is where his passion really was. So I wonder what kind of experiences he had to lead him to this.
Oh, clearly he saw ghosts in the library.
Well, yeah. He definitely saw, or at least felt them. He felt the presence of these spirits as he's doing his research, which, I don't know, I feel like when I've pulled all-nighters in the library during undergrad or grad school, I sometimes would feel some presences around me.
It also just gets creepy at night in a library.
Oh, yeah.
Or even downstairs in special collections within, certain areas where it's quiet. And then all of a sudden, like, it doesn't need to be supernatural. It just needs to be like someone sneezed.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you're like, like, oh my goodness.
All the hair stand on the back of your neck. Yeah.
Or down here, we have a bell that you need to ring in order to get inside. Like, you need to be buzzed in. It is the most horrible bell in the entire world. It's a buzzer. And I've been working here since like 2014. Yeah. And it still...
I hear that bell in my dreams. I've been here for a year and it still does not get any, like, I'm still so scared every time someone rings it.
At least you don't jump. I like hit
I do jump.
Oh, you do? I've never seen you actually jump. Every time I'm up there and I jump, I don't see you jump.
Oh my God, no. Sometimes people are really apologetic. They're like, oh, I didn't mean to scare you. I'm like, no, it's just the way that this place is wired.
Oh. Yeah. Okay.
Well, we hope you...
Guess that's it for Ghosts in the Library.
Yeah. So we hope you enjoyed and continue on with us. We promise as the days goes on, the stories will get a little more spookier.
Yes. See you then.
See ya.
That's it for today's episode of Spooky Stories. We are your hosts, Jackie and Martha. If you enjoyed Spooky Stories, be sure to share and follow us on social media at SHU_libraries. Until next time, keep your curiosity alive and remember, the library holds more than just books. Some stories may linger long after the lights go out.